much half of South Carolina and half of North Carolina to find qualified college students and college graduates who are, again, qualified physically, academically, and through their leadership potential to eventually be commissioned as second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. That's obviously what we're doing today for Mr. Park behind me. I'm going to start off by telling you how unique and special this is with just one small statistic. Our office of 3 Marines, we work with 22 colleges and universities in the states of North Carolina and South Carolina, 22 different schools. Out of those 22 different schools, combined, they have approximately 80,000 undergraduate students. None of those schools have an ROTC or any other method to become a Marine Corps officer. If you go to one of those 22 schools, literally the only way it is possible for you to be commissioned a Marine Corps officer is to go through our office, through the 3 of us. So that being said, 80,000 students, those 22 different schools, this fiscal year, I'm commissioning a total of 12 lieutenants. Wow. That's a pretty high number compared to other officers in the Southeast, because I know exactly how they commission. That's actually a relatively good number. 12 graduates out of 80,000 undergrad students out of those 22 different schools are going to be commissioned Marine Corps officers. And one from Davidson get commissioned last year, Second Lieutenant Nick Shannon, if you know him. He's the only other student involved with Davidson right now, representing this school as a Marine Corps officer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of talk about what he's done to get to this point. I'm going to talk about what he's going to do in his near future, in the next year or so of his life and his career in the Marine Corps, and then kind of tell you what's going to go on in the ceremony. So what has he done to get here? In order to become a Marine Corps officer, there's 2 major requirements. One, you have to get your degree. Obviously, he's done that recently. I believe the official graduation is tomorrow when he will get his degree. Other thing you have to do, you have to graduate from Officer Candidate School, or OCS. Officer Candidate School is a screening tool to see if you have what it takes to become a Marine Corps officer. I'll tell you right now, it's no fun. It's absolutely horrible to go through. There's nothing nice, there's nothing fun about it. He's gone 2 separate summers in 2 individual 6-week periods. So he spent a total of 12 weeks at this school. But what this school does, when you go up there, they don't want you to graduate. They're trying to get you out. All right, now at this school, they test you 3 different ways. They test you academically, they test you physically, and they test your leadership potential. You cannot show a weakness in any of those 3 categories. You can't be the best. You can't run 3 miles faster than everyone else and fail your academic test or fail your leadership test. You have to excel at all 3 categories at this school in order to graduate. Obviously, he's done that. Now, the X factor at this school is the whole time you're there, you're getting about 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. And from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, you have Marine Corps drill instructors yelling at you, making your life miserable. All right, so that's kind of the school, the 2 major requirements that he's done to get here today. Now, in his near future, the next step for him, the soon-to-be lieutenant, is he's going to go to the basic school, or what we call TBS. That's basic training for Marine Corps officers. What's unique about that with the Marine Corps is we don't care what your specialty, gender, we don't care what your background is. Every male, female, lawyer, aviator, every Marine Corps officer, the very first thing they have to do is go to the basic school. It's a 6-month school. Known as the #1 leadership school in America, or excuse me, #1 leadership school in the world. Our allies in other countries send their top 5% of lieutenants to come train with us at this school. It's basically a semester of college on leadership. The end state of that 6 months is that he will be trained to lead an infantry platoon of Marines in combat. Now, that school, again, if you take a step back and say every single lawyer, every single pilot we have before they start for the flight school had to go and graduate that school. That's the school he's going to go to soon. Near the end of that 6 months, he's going to get his specialty. There's roughly 20 different specialties, from combat arms, including infantry, artillery, tanks, things of that nature, to a couple different intelligence fields, to what we call combat service support, which is communications, finance, logistics. I could go on and on. Again, there's roughly 20, 25 different specialties he may get. Once he receives that specialty, the final step in his training is to go to that specialty school, which will be 3 to 5 months long. So before he gets out in the operating forces, he's still got roughly a year of school before he's going to be in front of Marines. All right. So fast forward a year, he graduates from those 2 schools. When he graduates that specialty school, he'll be considered fully trained. Him being considered fully trained, the Marine Corps is going to place him in charge and responsible for a platoon of 45 Marines. And the unique thing about that I always mention is out of those 45 Marines, the overwhelming majority of them will have been in the Marine Corps longer than him. The majority of them will have been already deployed once or twice, and a good chunk of those 45 Marines will be older than him. and he will be responsible for them. And I don't just mean responsible for them on the job or potentially on deployment. I mean responsible for their lives. If a young Marine is having marital problems, financial problems, things of that nature, he's supposed to be the leader and the mentor. And I promise you, in those next 2 schools that he's going to go through that I previously mentioned, he will be prepared to do that, and he'll succeed at it. So, that being said, I've talked about what he's done. I've talked about what he's going to do in the next year or so. For the remainder of this ceremony, you'll see he'll be getting sworn in. We're going to read his commissioning warrant. After that, he will actually sign his commissioning documents. And then the very final thing, he's going to receive his first salute as a Marine Corps officer from an enlisted Marine Corps Rux. So the reason I'm kind of telling you this, I promise you in no way are you going to get in our way doing this. Please feel free to move around, take pictures, do whatever you feel is necessary. And with that being said, we're going to continue.
Attention to orders. So all shall see these president's greetings. Know you that reposing special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Brian S. Park, I do appoint this officer a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, to the rank as such from the 19th day of May 2012. This officer will therefore carefully and diligently discharge the duties of the office to which appointed by, doing and performing all manner of things thereunto belonging. I do strictly charge and require those officers and other personnel of lesser rank to render such obedience as due an officer of this grade and position. And this officer is to observe and follow orders and directions from time to time as may be given by the President of the United States of America. This commission is to continue in force during the pleasure of the President of the United States of America under the provisions of those public laws relating to officers of the armed forces of the United States of America and the component thereof in which this appointment is made. Done at the city of Washington, this 13th day of April, in the year of our Lord, 2012, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 236, by the President.
I, Brian S. Park,
I, Brian S. Park,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
And that I will faithfully discharge
That I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
upon which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
At this time, would Mr. and Mrs. Park please come forward to pin the second lieutenant bars on Lieutenant Park.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause. Second Lieutenant Park.
here. It was a long, hard journey, starting sophomore year when I first got here, actually. I just want to thank everyone for coming out here and making this day extra special for me. I want to thank Brian Bouchard in particular for helping me get dressed. I want to thank all the faculty, President Bill, I want to thank you. I know you guys are really busy right now, but thanks for coming out here and just helping me make this day very special. And I want to thank Captain Cox here, swearing me in. And Dean Bray and Dean Shanley for introducing us to way back in September or August. And yeah, I'll keep things short. Thank you so much, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to sign his official commissioning documents. We're going to step off to the side for a second and sign the official documents. And then in about 2 or 3 minutes, we'll come back and he's going to receive his first salute from the run.